You say you want to be more disciplined. You want results, transformation, power, and purpose. But let me ask you something raw and real. Do you want it badly enough to suffer for it? Do you want it badly enough to burn down your comfort zone and walk through the fire of discomfort with a smile on your face? Because if not, you're just another dreamer talking in circles, making promises to yourself that you'll break again tomorrow morning. Discipline is not a gift. It's not a talent. It's not something you're born with. It's war, a daily war with the soft voice inside your head that tells you to sleep in, to scroll, to wait, to relax. That voice has been running your life. It's been whispering lies, feeding you the illusion that comfort is the reward. But here's the truth that will punch you in the face if you're ready to wake up. Comfort is the coffin of potential. Everything you want in this life lies on the other side of what's uncomfortable. Success doesn't come from what you feel like doing. It comes from doing what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's discipline. And if you don't develop it, life will discipline you instead, with regret, shame, and mediocrity. You don't escape the pain. You just choose which kind you're willing to endure. Most people avoid pain at all costs. They retreat into soft routines, fake goals, and dopamine addictions. They scroll for hits of validation, binge content, chase empty rewards, and wonder why nothing changes. But the truth is simple. You will never become who you were meant to be if you keep trying to protect who you are right now. The comfort zone is not where champions are made. It's where they're buried to the first hack, the first brutal mental shift is this. You must associate comfort with weakness and pain with growth. Your mind is a programmable machine. It runs patterns, beliefs, habits. Rewire it. Start to link laziness with suffering and discomfort with freedom. When it hurts, smile. When it burns, keep going. When your mind screams to stop, take that one more step. Because that step, that moment of pressure, is exactly where your old identity dies and the new one is born to you think the greats got there by feeling good every day? Do you think the disciplined people you admire were motivated every morning? No, they built a new relationship with pain. They learned to see it not as a sign to quit, but as a signal to keep going. They showed up again and again, while others waited to feel ready. They bled for their habits until those habits became who they were. If you want to be that kind of person, then stop trying to avoid the suffering. Embrace it. Own it. Use it. Every time you do what's hard when you could have done what's easy, you send a message to your brain. I'm not like the rest. I'm not here to play it safe. I'm here to transform. You train yourself like a soldier. You don't negotiate with weakness. You override it. You build friction between who you were and who you're becoming. And you choose evolution. Look around. Discipline is rare because comfort is cheap. Everyone wants to feel good now. Nobody wants to be strong later. But if you want something greater, you've got to do what others won't. Wake up early when it hurts. Move your body when you're tired. Say no to the distractions everyone else says yes to. Every decision is a battle, and every battle you win makes the next one easier. That's the law of compounding power. People say it's hard. Of course, it's hard. That's the point. It's supposed to be hard. That's what makes it worth it. If it was easy, you'd already have it. Everyone would. You're not here to be like everyone else. You're here to set fire to your old life, to break the cycle, to kill the weak voice that's kept you average. You're here to become something unrecognizable to your past self. You can't wait for the feeling to show up. You have to act your way into the feeling. Action creates momentum. Movement builds belief. The first step is always the ugliest, the hardest, the slowest, but it's also the most important. Because that first step proves to yourself that you're capable. It breaks the illusion that you're stuck. And once you break that illusion, you break the mental chains that have been holding you back for years. That there's a reason the military doesn't care how you feel. There's a reason elite athletes train even when they're broken. It's because they understand that feelings are liars. They know that their emotions are not the drivers, their decisions are. You think discipline is about waking up early? It's not. It's about waking up when your whole body says no and doing it anyway. It's not about the hour. It's about the obedience to your higher self. Let me tell you something dangerous. If you live your life based on feelings, you will be owned by weakness. You will always find a reason to skip, to delay, to negotiate. You will live in a loop of promises and pity. But when you anchor yourself to commitment, to the mission, to the code, suddenly, pain becomes a partner, not a prison. Do not make the mistake of thinking that discipline is about punishment. It's not. It's about liberation. It's about freeing yourself from the temporary pleasure that's been keeping you stuck in a permanent prison. You want to feel alive? Push your limits. Do what's difficult. Face the fear. Step into the cold. Get under the weight. Go beyond the line. You'll find a version of yourself that's been waiting to meet you on the other side of pain. Every time you avoid what you fear, it grows stronger. Every time you face it, you grow stronger. That's how you hack your mind. Not with fake motivation or cheap hacks, but by making discipline a daily act of war. A sacred commitment to the version of yourself you refuse to let die. Forget the comfort zone. Burn it to the ground. It has nothing for you but decay. You weren't created for safety. You were created for strength. The muscles don't grow in comfort. The spirit doesn't rise in ease. The life you dream of demands that you suffer now, so you don't suffer later. Do the hard things. They're not punishment. They're purification. You don't need more time. You don't need more talent. You need more grit, more urgency, more fire. You need to stop making comfort the reward and start making progress the reward. Because the pain you feel now is better than the regret you'll carry forever. Choose pain now or pay with regret later. There is no third option. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off and your mind says, just 5 more minutes. Remember this. That's not your voice. That's your old self trying to survive. Don't let it. Kill it. Get up. Rise. Move. Break the pattern. Rewire the system. Take the action you don't want to take and do it with pride. That's how you change. Discipline is not an event. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, a code of honor. It's not glamorous. It's gritty. It's lonely. It's exhausting. But it builds a strength no one can take from you. It makes you unstoppable, not because you never fall, but because you never quit. And the man or woman who never quits cannot be beaten. Burn the comfort zone. Get addicted to difficulty. Chase the resistance. Show up when you don't feel like it. Push past the emotion. Crush the excuses. Build a mind that does what needs to be done, not what feels easy. That's the beginning. That's the first crack in the wall of weakness. That's where discipline is born, in fire. You can't keep fighting for discipline with the same identity that keeps giving in. If you truly want to change your life, you don't start with habits. You start with identity. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-image. You will always act like the person you believe you are. So if you keep seeing yourself as weak, lazy, broken, inconsistent, that's exactly how you'll behave, no matter how many motivational videos you watch or routines you try to follow. You must kill the old identity. You must become someone else. The man who hits snooze every morning and says, I'll start tomorrow, he has to die. The woman who scrolls through social media while telling herself she'll get serious next week, she has to go. Because until they're gone, there is no room for the new you to breathe. You don't transform by stacking new actions on top of a weak foundation. You transform by shattering the mirror of who you used to be and refusing to ever see that version of yourself again. You want real discipline? Stop calling yourself undisciplined. Stop reinforcing the lie with your language. Every time you say, I'm just not that type of person, you're writing that weakness into your future. Every time you say, I always give up, you're scripting your failure before it happens. Change your words. Change your story. Change your standards. You don't try to be disciplined. You decide that you already are, and you act like it, even when it hurts. This is how identity works. You shift first on the inside, and then the outside follows. You say, I am the type of person who doesn't skip. I am the type of person who does what needs to be done. I am relentless. I am dependable. I am forged by fire. And then you start proving it to yourself, moment by moment, day by day, action by action. That proof stacks up. It builds evidence. And eventually, it becomes belief. That's how identity hardens. That's how you become unstoppable. But let me be clear. This isn't about faking confidence. This isn't about pretending. It's about creating micro moments of truth. When your mind says quit, and you don't. When your body says stop, and you move. When it would be easy to lie, cheat, skip, scroll, sleep, and instead, you choose discipline. Those are the moments that reshape who you are. Those are the moments that separate you from the old version of yourself. And those are the moments that most people ignore because they're inconvenient. But that's why most people never change. Discipline isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up no matter what version of yourself wakes up that morning. It's about loyalty to the mission, not loyalty to your emotions. Because your emotions will betray you. They'll tell you to take the day off, to cheat a little, to delay the pain. But the disciplined identity answers back, no, that's not who I am anymore. You want to hack your mind. Start acting like the person you want to be now, not someday, not when things calm down. Now, decide who you want to become, and then ask yourself with every decision, what would that person do right now? Would they give in? Would they delay? Would they flinch? Or would they lock in, shut up, and execute? The brain follows repetition. It doesn't care what's true. It cares what's familiar. So the more you act like the new you, the faster your brain rewires. At first, it will feel like a lie, like you're pretending. That's normal. It's supposed to feel fake, because your mind is still addicted to the old self. But the more you override it, the more that new behavior becomes natural. Eventually, that new behavior becomes identity. And when your identity is forged in discipline, you don't have to rely on motivation. You become the kind of person who simply doesn't miss. The problem is most people try to build discipline while still clinging to their past. You can't do both. You can't become a beast while acting like a victim. You can't walk into the fire while dragging the excuses you've used for years. You have to let go. Burn the bridge. Make the transformation permanent. That's the cost. Discipline demands identity death. And most people aren't ready to die to who they were. So they stay stuck. They stay addicted to the story of failure. They keep blaming their childhood, their habits, their circumstances. They say things like, I've just always been this way. And that's the tragedy. Because the truth is, you haven't always been anything. You're evolving every moment. You're building or breaking. Every day, identity isn't fixed. It's flexible. And the most powerful person in the room is the one who understands they can reinvent themselves at any time. Through action, stop saying, I hope I can change. Start saying, I'm changing right now. Discipline is not about praying for a new life. It's about picking up the axe and chopping down the old one. It's not about waiting for a breakthrough. It's about becoming the breakthrough. You don't need to beg life to get better. You need to become better. And that happens when you stop reacting and start becoming. Everything in your environment has been built around your old identity. Your habits, your friends, your routines, your digital world. It all reflects the person you've been. So if you want to change, it's not just internal. It's external. Clean the feed. Cut the noise. Leave the circles that reinforce laziness. Burn the safety net. Change the room you stand in, and you'll change the mind you think with. This is war. And you can't go to war dressed like a civilian. You can't build a savage identity while protecting your comforts. It's time to gear up. Time to act like the warrior you want to become. Do what they would do. Say what they would say. Live, like they would live. And eventually, you'll look in the mirror and see that person staring back at you. The shift is simple, but not easy. You stop chasing hacks and start doing the hard things. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You stop justifying weakness and start enforcing standards. You become your own drill sergeant. You stop asking for permission and start giving orders to yourself. And when the weak voice whispers, you laugh and keep moving. Because you don't answer to weakness anymore. You answer to purpose. You are not your past. You are not your feelings. You are not your failures. You are the sum of your decisions. And every decision is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Every meal you eat, every rep you do, every hour you wake up early, every minute you avoid distraction, it's all building something. Something harder, sharper, stronger. Do not underestimate this truth. Your identity is a weapon, and most people never sharpen it. They let it dull in a world of comfort. But not you. You're here for fire, for evolution, for the kind of transformation that makes your past self unrecognizable. The path won't be easy. You'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. You'll feel alone. That's the price. But in that solitude, you will meet the strongest version of yourself. The one that doesn't quit. The one that keeps promises. The one that shows up every single day, because that's who they are. Discipline isn't something you do. It's someone you become. And the moment you fully embrace that, the war changes. You stop fighting yourself. You stop negotiating. You stop needing inspiration. You wake up and go to war because that's what you do. It's who you are. Now.so decide today, who am I? Am I the one who always falls short? Or am I the one who finishes? Am I the one who makes promises and breaks them? Or am I the one who honors the mission, no matter what? You want to change your life? Change your identity. You want to change your identity? Change your actions. You want to change your actions? Start now. Not tomorrow, not later, not next year. Right now. Because the person who doesn't quit is already inside you. But they don't come alive in comfort. They show up in the fire. So step in. Burn the old you. Rise in the flames. This is who you are now. The real war isn't out there. It's in here, inside your mind. Discipline doesn't begin with action. It begins with focus. Because the undisciplined mind will betray you every time. It will lie, distract, scatter, and sabotage. And most people, they've become slaves to that noise. They can't sit still, can't concentrate, can't go 5 minutes without reaching for a phone, a notification, a shot of dopamine. They say they want freedom, but they live in mental chaos. You cannot win a war with a weapon you haven't mastered. Your mind is your weapon. Control it, or be controlled. You think discipline is hard? Try doing it with a brain that's cluttered, anxious, overstimulated, constantly yanked in 50 directions. That's what most people are fighting with, a broken compass. No wonder they fail. No wonder they say, I tried, but I just couldn't focus. Of course you couldn't. Your mind is addicted to noise. And as long as it's addicted, you will never build consistency, never build peace, never build power. So what do? You go silent. You kill the noise that we live in a world engineered to steal your attention. Every app, every feed, every pop-up, every ad, it's a hook. And the more you get hooked, the less power you have. This isn't entertainment. This is war for your mind. And most people don't even know they're under attack. They open their eyes, grab the phone, scroll into oblivion, and wonder why. They can't focus on what matters. Wonder why they feel empty. Wonder why they feel anxious and weak. It's not a mystery. It's a system, and you're caught in it. But you don't have to stay there. You can take the wheel back. You can train your brain to lock in, to go deep, to work like a machine. It starts with subtraction, not addition. You don't need another hack. You need less noise, fewer apps, fewer opinions, fewer voices in your head that don't belong to you. You need silence, not as a break, but as a weapon. Silence is where the fire gets built. Silence is where you sharpen your vision. Silence is where the world stops pulling and you start choosing. And most people are terrified of it. That's why they never stop scrolling. Because in the silence, you're forced to face yourself, your weakness, your fear, your lack of control. But if you can sit in it long enough, push through the discomfort, the fire starts. And you begin to hear the voice that actually matters, your own. Your thoughts shape your identity. But where do those thoughts come from? Are they yours? Or are they borrowed from the chaos around you? If you don't choose what fills your mind, the world will choose for you. It will feed you distraction, fear, negativity, doubt, laziness, temptation, and you'll absorb it like a sponge. Your mind is fertile ground. Whatever you plant will grow. And most people, they're planting weeds and wondering why they're not harvesting strength. So clean it. Purge it. Build a mind like a temple. That means cutting the digital leash. That means protecting your attention like it's oxygen. That means building rituals of clarity, reading, journaling, walking in silence, waking without noise, sitting in discomfort without grabbing a screen. These aren't luxuries. These are survival tools in a world that profits from your mental weakness. You want to be disciplined? Control the first hour of your day. No phone, no noise, no input, just direction, just stillness, just ownership. That first hour is sacred. It's where you declare war on chaos. It's where you remind yourself, I am not a slave to the noise. I choose what I focus on. I own my day before the world has a chance to steal it. But let's go deeper. Because this isn't just about turning off the phone. This is about rewiring how you think. You can't just unplug. You have to replace. Replace scrolling with learning. Replace reacting with planning. Replace escape with discipline. Every second of focus is a muscle, and the more you train it, the more unshakable you become. You start to think clearly. You start to choose deliberately. You start to feel that silence isn't empty. It's powerful. Most people think a lack of discipline is laziness. It's not. It's mental fragmentation. A split mind cannot stay consistent. It cannot stay locked in. It jumps from thing to thing, chasing stimulation, avoiding boredom. But boredom is where the gold is. Boredom is where the mind starts to create, starts to build, starts to solve. You must go through boredom to get to brilliance. But nobody wants to wait. Nobody wants to sit still. That's why brilliance is rare. Kill the noise. That's the rule. Every beep, every buzz, every unnecessary notification, it's a tax on your power. You don't owe anyone instant access to your brain. Turn it off. Go dark. Be unreachable when you're building. Let them call you obsessive. Let them say you're too focused. Because while they're chasing likes, you're building legacy. While they're scrolling, you're sculpting yourself into something sharp, something dangerous, something disciplined. You don't need more motivation. You need more silence. You need to get quiet enough to hear the truth that you've been wasting time, leaking energy, giving away power for free. And it's not because you're weak. It's because your mind is cluttered. But you can change that. You can build a mind like a fortress, a place where only the essential lives. No noise, no chaos, just clarity, direction, fire. This is the mindset of warriors, of creators, of people who don't just react to life, they build it. They live by systems, not by impulses. They don't chase dopamine. They chase discipline. And they know that. In a world screaming for their attention, Silence is the sharpest sword. Think about this. Every time you say, I don't have time, what you really mean is, I don't have control. And control starts in the mind. Control starts when you stop letting every voice have access to your mental real estate. Stop opening 10 tabs. Stop switching between tasks like a machine with no direction. Choose one thing. Go deep. Finish. Then move. That's power. That's focus. That's discipline. The disciplined mind is rare. It doesn't chase. It attracts. It doesn't react. It responds. It doesn't get pulled, it pulls. It chooses what gets in. It builds a firewall against distraction. And because of that, it wins while others wander. Start today. Pick 1 hour. Kill the noise. No phone. No messages. No tabs. Just you and your work. Sit in the discomfort. You'll feel it. That itch to check, to scroll, to break the silence. Don't. Push through. Breathe. Focus. Do the work. It won't feel natural at first. It'll feel impossible. But that's just the withdrawal. That's your brain detoxing from years of distraction. And when you get through it, when you push past that point, you'll feel something you haven't felt in years. Control. That's the real prize. Not success. Not applause. Control. Over yourself. Over your attention. Over your habits. Over your future. You own it, or someone else will. And when you master that control, everything else becomes easier. Waking up early, training hard, saying no, finishing what you start. Because now you're not doing it with a mind that's cluttered and chaotic. You're doing it with a weapon. A sharp, disciplined, focused weapon that doesn't waste time. People will ask how you changed. They'll ask what routine you followed, what book you read, what hack you used. And you'll tell them the truth. You killed the noise. You stopped being a victim of your environment. You stopped handing your brain over to the world. You unplugged. You focused. You built a mind that serves you, not sabotages you. And now, you don't need reminders. You don't need hacks. You don't need someone to push you. You are self-directed, self-governed, self-driven. And that's the most dangerous kind of person in the world. The one who doesn't need noise to feel alive. The one who can sit in stillness and rise with clarity. The one who can hear one voice, their own, and follow it relentlessly. So if you want discipline, don't start with willpower. Start with silence. Kill the noise. Build the mind. Then build the life. Discipline is the ability to reject what you want now for what you want most. That's the line that separates the weak from the unstoppable, the amateurs from the professionals, the comfort chasers from the history makers. You see, most people are addicted to the hit of pleasure, of ease, of escape. It's not that they're lazy. It's that they're lost in the cycle of instant gratification. They want the reward without the cost. They want the win without the wait. And so they trade their future for now, every single day. You want to be different? Delay. Pause. Wait. Starve the craving. Let it burn. Let the temptation rise, and still say no. That's power. That's control. That's what separates the man who builds from the man who breaks. The world will hand you 1,000 reasons to quit, 1,000 distractions dressed as comfort, 1,000 escapes that feel good for a moment but rob you for years. If you take the bait, you lose the war. The mind trained in immediate reward becomes weak. It becomes soft, needy, emotional, reactive. It can't delay. It can't focus. It can't build. That mind doesn't create discipline. It destroys it. And if you feed that mind every time it whines, you will become its servant. But if you starve it, if you train it like a beast, it will become your weapon. You don't get strong by giving in. You get strong by waiting, by holding, by saying no to what feels good now, so you can say yes to something unshakable later. That's the trade. And it's a brutal one, because everything in you will scream for relief. Everything will beg you to just take the easy way. Just this once, it'll whisper, "You deserve it." But that voice, that's not your power speaking. That's your prison. You know this already. You've lived it. You felt the guilt after the shortcut, the regret after the indulgence, the emptiness after the scroll, the binge, the cheat. You know that feeling. It's not satisfaction. It's shame. It's weakness. And you don't need more of that. You need to flip the game. You need to become the kind of person who finds strength in the wait, not weakness. Who finds pride in control, not shame in surrender. Think of every goal you've ever wanted. Physical, financial, mental, emotional. All of them demand delay. All of them require sacrifice. Not once. Daily. Hourly. Relentlessly. There is no greatness without pain. No transformation without resistance. No glory without grind. You cannot cheat the process. Only cheat yourself out of the results. But here's what the world won't tell you. Every time you delay gratification, you gain power. Not just in theory, in your brain, in your wiring. Your neurons change. Your tolerance for discomfort increases. Your control strengthens. You become a different animal. One with endurance. One with patience. One with command. And that kind of person, they can do anything. Because nothing owns them. Not cravings. Not urges. Not fear. They own themselves. This is how you hack discipline at the deepest level. You don't just fight temptation, you reverse it. You teach your brain that waiting feels better than giving in. You celebrate the delay. You reward the control. You anchor pride to sacrifice. So instead of dreading the hard choice, you start to crave it. You start to love it. Because it's proof that you're not average, that you're not addicted, that you're not a slave to weakness. But that transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you make micro decisions, over and over. When you walk past the sugar. When you close the app. When you stay standing while your body begs to sit. When you train when no one's watching. When you push one more rep, read one more page, finish one more task. Because you said you would. That's where the power is. Not in the end goal. Not in the applause. In the moment. In the minute of decision. That's where your character is forged. That's where your future is built. That's the invisible work that makes you unbreakable. And the world will never see those moments. But your future will. Every successful person you admire, every disciplined beast you want to become, they've mastered one thing. The art of the wait. The ability to say no to now so they can say yes to forever. They don't wake up craving the grind. They've trained themselves to crave the results more than the relief. They're not superhuman. They're just consistent. Committed. Controlled. You say you want freedom? Then stop living like a prisoner to your urges. Real freedom is self-mastery. The freedom to say no. The freedom to delay. The freedom to suffer on your terms so you don't suffer on life's terms. Because pain is coming either way. One is chosen. One is forced. One makes you stronger. One makes you bitter. Choose wisely. Look around you. Everyone's chasing the shortcut. Everyone's trying to avoid the wait. And they wonder why they feel lost, out of shape, broke, angry, anxious. They're burning their potential for 5 minutes of comfort. Don't follow them. Don't envy them. Pity them, because they've sold their future for a moment they won't even remember. But you're different. You're the exception. You're the one who delays, who suffers with purpose, who waits when it hurts. And that wait carves you into something rare, something respected, something feared. That's the man or woman you're building. One decision at a time. The next time temptation shows up, pause. Breathe. Don't react. Watch it. See it. Feel the pull. And then override it. Smile at it. Beat it. Walk past it. Not because you're trying to be perfect, but because you're building something permanent, something real, something sacred. Delayed gratification isn't about missing out. It's about trading up. You trade now for more later. You trade easy for strong. You trade impulse for integrity. And in that trade, you don't lose anything. You gain everything. You gain pride, confidence, control. You gain a reputation with yourself that says, I do what I say. I finish what I start. I master what I feel. And when you build that kind of trust with yourself, no one can stop you. You don't need hype. You don't need external pressure. You've got internal fire, internal fuel, internal standards. That's the rarest kind of power there is, the kind that doesn't fade because it wasn't borrowed. It was earned that you're not just delaying pleasure. You're delaying weakness. You're delaying addiction. You're delaying the collapse of your mission. Every no you say now is a yes to your destiny. Every moment you hold the line is a statement. I'm not for sale. I don't trade my future for trash. So get used to the wait. Get comfortable with the hunger. Let the craving rise and let it die. You're not a prisoner to your feelings anymore. You're in charge now, and you're choosing what few people ever will: the path of power, the path of patience, the path of permanent growth. This is how legends are made, not in moments of glory, but in the quiet decisions no one sees, the sacrifices no one claps for, the delays that build the discipline. You don't need to be flashy, just consistent, just faithful, just firm. You don't need to announce your discipline. It will announce you. Let them chase comfort. Let them celebrate shortcuts. You'll wait. You'll suffer. You'll delay. And in that delay, you'll rise. Stronger, sharper, ready for anything. Because that's what discipline is. Power held back on purpose. This is it. The truth most people avoid. The truth that separates those who dabble from those who dominate. Discipline is not something you feel. It's not something you hope for, chase, or wait on. Discipline is something you structure. Ruthlessly, relentlessly, unapologetically. Because if your life isn't built on routine, it's built on randomness. And randomness is the enemy of discipline. You can talk all day about motivation. You can get hyped up, inspired, emotional. But if you don't build a routine, all that fire will fade. Discipline doesn't survive without systems. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you've trained yourself to do every single day, no matter what storm is going on outside or inside. And you don't build that kind of consistency by accident. You build it by design. Look at the people you admire, the ones who are locked in, focused, fit, powerful, productive. They're not winging it. They're not hoping for a good day. They're engineering it, morning to night, minute to minute. They've carved their lives into patterns that protect their energy, their focus, their fire. They don't think about whether they feel like it. They just do it because it's what they do. It's written into their identity. And that identity is anchored in routine. Your mind is a battlefield. And the way you win that war is by building a schedule that leaves no room for weakness to grow. If your day has gaps, those gaps will be filled with excuses. If your time has no target, it'll drift into distraction. That's not a maybe. That's a law. Your brain is a machine, and if you don't program it, it will be programmed by everything else around you: noise, temptation, randomness, weakness. But if you build routines like armor, you create a mind that moves like a weapon. That's the edge, the daily edge. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be predictable, predictable to yourself. You wake up, and without even thinking, you move. You train. You focus. You execute. No delays. No debate. No dialogue. Just action. Not because you're motivated, but because it's who you are now. But to get there, you need to face the hard truth. You are what you repeat. Not what you intend. Not what you promise. What you repeat. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise or fall to the level of your routines. If you're tired of being inconsistent, it's not a discipline problem. It's a systems problem. Fix the system, and discipline becomes automatic. You want power? Map your day like a blueprint. Set fixed wake times, fixed workout times, fixed deep work hours, fixed shutdown routines. You create sacred blocks, protected, untouchable, non-negotiable. Because if everything in your life is flexible, your results will always be fragile. You can't become consistent with a chaotic lifestyle. You need structure, walls, standards. Will it be easy? No. At first, your mind will fight it. It'll crave the freedom to choose, to drift, to decide on the fly. But that's the same freedom that's kept you stuck. The freedom to fail. The freedom to waste time. You've had enough of that. Now you're building something new. And that kind of freedom comes through discipline, through routine. Through order, there's no glamour in this. No applause. No spotlight. Just daily execution. Just repetition. Just doing the work when no one's watching, no one's clapping, no one's even checking in. That's where the real ones are made. In the monotony, in the grind, in the ritual of showing up over and over, until the habits sink in so deep they become part of your DNA. Routines don't limit you, they free you. They free you from decision fatigue, from procrastination, from wasted motion. Every time you wake up and know exactly what you're doing, you gain energy. Every time you follow the plan without hesitation, you build momentum. Every time you finish the work before others have even started theirs, you get stronger. It compounds. It stacks. It multiplies. But you can't just build routine and expect it to stick on its own. You have to guard it. Like a warrior guards a fortress. People will try to disrupt it. Life will try to distract you. Your own mind will try to pull you off the path. And in those moments, you don't negotiate. You reinforce. You go harder. You become more disciplined, more structured, more ruthless. That's the word. Ruthless. Not towards others, towards your excuses, towards your distractions, towards anything that tries to pull you away from the life you're building. You have to be willing to offend your laziness, to insult your comfort, to interrupt your old patterns and burn them down with precision. You don't just build routine, you protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. This is how legends are made. Not in flashes of inspiration, but in bricks of routine, stacked daily, year after year. This is how you become the person no one can break. The person who doesn't miss. The person who gets up no matter what, executes no matter how they feel, finishes what they start no matter how long it takes. That kind of person isn't born. They're built in the grind of routine. So if you're serious about discipline, stop chasing intensity. Chase consistency. Anyone can grind for a day. Most can grind for a week. But few can grind every day, month after month, without skipping, without sliding, without slipping into softness. And that's where the power is. In the streak, in the chain, in the unbroken line of effort that forges results you can't fake. Even on the worst days, especially on the worst days, the routine is your anchor. When your emotions crash, when motivation dies, when everything feels pointless, the routine keeps you steady. It keeps you moving forward. It saves you from the spiral. That's why you don't wait for a good day to follow your routine. You follow the routine, and the good days follow. You want to become unshakable? Build unshakable routines. Get obsessed with them. Not just what you do, but when, how, and why. On your mornings. Lock in your evenings. Guard your work hours like a beast. Plan your days the night before. Don't let a single hour go wasted. Discipline isn't some mysterious force. It's a plan, executed daily, without emotion that you'll get tested. The day will come when life hits you sideways, when the schedule falls apart, when chaos shows up uninvited. And that's the test. That's when you find out whether your routine was just an idea or a lifestyle. And if you've trained for that moment, if you've rehearsed enough, if you've lived in your structure long enough, you'll move through it. You'll adapt without collapsing. You'll execute anyway. That's the mark of the disciplined S. Oh, here's the call. Build your day like a warrior sharpens a blade. With care, with precision, with no tolerance for weakness. Make every hour count. Build guardrails. Cut noise. Burn distractions. Set alarms. Use timers. Track habits. Build a schedule that would terrify your past self. One that proves to you and the world that you are not average. This is your time. Not to try harder, but to plan smarter. Not to hustle blindly, but to build deliberately. Not to chase perfection, but to pursue execution. Relentlessly. Daily. With no escape route. No backup plan. No, maybe tomorrow. Because this is the final truth. Discipline is not about force. It's about flow. A flow built by structure. A life that no longer relies on emotion to move. You just move, because that's who you are. So now it's on you. Not to feel inspired, but to act. To build. To wake up tomorrow with a plan, with a mission, with a fire that doesn't die when the mood fades. Wake up, move, train, grind, win, and do it again. Over and over. Brick by brick. Hour by hour. You don't need more time. You need more structure. More intensity in your consistency. More non-negotiables. And if you do that, if you live like that, discipline won't just be something you practice. It'll be something you become. That's the goal. That's the finish line. You. Built by routine. Driven by fire. Disciplined by choice. Unstoppable.